started.
Look at the best way possible. And in all the research I've been doing, this sectarian bullshit is literally killing our party, Gonzo. It's gotta stop.
Okay, just for the folks at home, so that way people will understand what the fuck we're going on about.
Sectarianism, it's when you divide the activist front into so many different sections and factions that all fronts have to like negotiate and compromise on this bullshit thing. The advantage to one unified front, if you look back at the workers' unions or the revolts of the 1960s of yore or the 1800s, they were one united front, and that was what was effective. The black civil rights movement, yeah, you had like a few divided sects, but the Black Panthers were generally seen, at least by the general public, as bad. The civil rights movement, Dr. Martin Luther King's thing, was seen as the alternative that was slightly more pleasant. And, you know, racist sentiment was on the decline because of race mixing that was taking place in the United States illegally. But
I was about to also say we backtrack for a bit so that way people will understand why we're upset, or
why
you're upset.
Why we're upset?
Yeah. Okay. How about for the folks for the recording?
Okay.
Why don't we start this off?
So literally, I put up with this crap for years, and it is based around like facts, right? So people bring up dog whistles and how Nazis subtly use those to pass by the public square,
especially lately because of the outrage about a Jeopardy contestant who was seen, quote unquote, doing a white power gesture.
Literally not a white supremacist. You're not going to change my mind on that. And there are even people that have agreed he's not a white supremacist, but then backpedaled on their morally superior ground, saying he just shouldn't have used that gesture. Fuck you. You know that gesture is commonly used. You know people do shit like that. You are not sticking on this hill! Okay, that is
a very bad idea to be fucking starting, because the whole shebang started as a 4chan prank. The whole thing is just taking a common gesture and try to add a negative meaning to it. But unfortunately, thanks to, you know, everybody else who has the collective intelligence of a goldfish, picked up on it, made it their thing, made it an actual thing, and pretty much are trying to condemn people for ever using it.
I'm going to put it blunt. Trump's going to be right about us if we can't unify the front. Democrats lose. They lose. They do nothing. All it takes is one fucking seat lost in this party, and that's it. Joe Biden can literally do nothing. He won't have the votes anymore. He'll just be left to sit there and spin. The only things he'll be able to fundamentally pass are the things he can get even a few Republicans to split on. And it's not going to happen. That party is just so fucking compromised, they don't do what's good for their own people. And people are going to keep fucking spreading this misinforming lie that Democrats just won't compromise with Republicans. It's so fucking ridiculous.
It's going to be like 2016 all over again, except we're a couple of years older. Meanwhile, Mitch McConnell will be sitting back,
literally ever since
that little sip of Kentucky tea as he pretty much reflects on what he actually said, which was today, 100% of my focus is standing up to this administration. What we have is total unity from Collins to Cruz in opposition to what the new administration is trying to do to this country.
These people literally want to divide us because of a disagreement of policy. And before people say Democrats do that too, I agree.
Well,
okay?
There you go.
There. I agree. Can we move on? Because here's the thing. You and I are still here. Other people that are able to rationally see past that bullshit are still here. And the only way we're going to prevail is if we all unify in our moderate think tank bullshit and expel this fuckery. But if we continue to sit on the sidelines in fear, that's it. That's it. You won't get a second chance.
Remember what happened in 2016. We're repeating that bullshit.
It'll repeat itself, and this time, it'll repeat itself, and this time, you won't be able to vote it out. Like, I'm literally convinced the next guy will actually be smarter than that.
Our next guy, is knowing my luck, will probably be Trump again, because, remember, back in 2016, Bill Maher summarized this properly. We were so concerned about policing our languages and all our behaviors and shit. We let the madman talk his way into the White House for 4 long years, wrecking everything up, letting a pandemic get us this crippled, getting us laughed at on the world stage.
Yeah.
And you're about to let it fucking happen
And here's
again.
the thing, right? And here's the thing, right? And this was something I hated a little bit about the anti-Trump camp. Literally, we didn't focus on the most important fights. We nitpicked and went after everything the man did. We flooded the public zeitgeist with anti-Trump sentiments. And literally, it didn't ever fucking dawn on us, you know, overloading people like this is really going to make them sick of us. Yeah.
It's mostly low-hanging fruit that will bear nothing in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, and then you've heard the story of the boy who cried wolf, right? All that low-hanging fruit you piled the public up with, they literally just decided one day they're not going to listen to you. The only thing that potentially got them back on your side was the failure of the pandemic incident. And I am not going to understate that. If the pandemic did not happen, Trump would be your 2020 president.
He will be having his second term.
There would be no question about it. There would be no question about it. There would be no question about it. And in my opinion, it's because the issue we keep refusing to address in our party, too much sectarianism, too much reactionaryism, too many sensitive people that cannot handle hard conversations, just damaging the public zeitgeist, damaging the reputation of the party because they won't let go and let those fuckers fall into the ocean. And the polls are in. The polls are in. You are literally faced with the true data. Abolish the police? Not sexy. Not sexy at all. Not even to the black community. What was that fucking disapproval percentage in the black community of abolish the police?
I will have to look it up.
So stop saying it. But you can't. You don't have the balls. You're a little baby bitch. Little pussy.
Hold on,
Can't
Sharp.
quit
I'm
fucking
looking it
saying
up.
shit. God. I want to call these people names because they just don't fucking listen. Bully them. Bully them like they bully everyone else.
There we go. The number is in. There we go. Wait, no, wait. This is from an article from like last year, but do you want it?
Yeah, bully them and let them whine and cry about how fucking triggered they are. Welcome to the real world.
There we go. There's a Gallup poll that was conducted last year.
Glad you could join us.
That's yeah, in the wake of George Floyd and all that, 81% of black Americans did not want less cop presence despite these protests, and many of them wanted more. A Gallup poll, according to Newsweek, conducted from June 23rd to July 6th, surveying more than 36,000 U.S. adults, found that 61% of black Americans said they'd like police to spend the same amount of time in their community. 20% said they'd like to see more policing, a total of 81%. 19% of those polled say they wanted police to spend less time in their area.
Only 19.
Yeah. They were on par with the national average, in which 67% of all U.S. adults say they wanted police presence to remain the same, 19 only wanting it to increase. And this was in the height of the George Floyd protesting.
Yeah, because I literally think it was the collective bulk.
Yeah, that's a good chunk. 81% is good.
Of the black
huge
community,
chunk.
that city would have just been burnt to the ground just due to overwhelming numbers. But like these sectarian sects, right, that divide themselves up into these little divisions say, well, they've got the money and we've got the numbers. But instead of dividing all people on the left, you create these little separated sectarian groups that are limited in their membership. How can you preach inclusivity when you don't have a broad, inclusive network? And before people say, oh, we do include people, that sectarianism creates pseudo gatekeeping that really impedes the general cause. People keep talking about race issues, not addressing the fact that even in their own statistics, if America is such a racist country, how the fuck are we going to get the votes to help black people? If we keep talking specifically and only about black issues and isolating these things as black-only issues. We can't. The numbers are in. We can't. We're fighting a losing battle each time we do that. We are fucking ourselves. More people are probably content in the Republican sect to go ahead and tax cut the Major League Baseball for not putting their game in Atlanta and de facto punishing them. And guess what? When that punishment gets hard enough, they're probably not going to side with the progressive movement anymore. There's the thing, right? We only scored corporate sentiment because we were able to bankrupt these companies if they didn't listen to us. If the state comes along and says, well, we're going to bankrupt you even worse if you listen to them, who are they going to start listening to? The person who literally has the unlimited power to tax them into oblivion? Or the people that have a few dollars here and there to spackle? Before you say this, well, yeah, that's authoritarianism. Yeah, no fucking shit. We're in the real world. How do you deal with it? You can sit here and talk about how that's authoritarian, that's fascist, but buck up, buddy. The only people that actually care about those sentiments you've expressed are your allies. And you are very quickly pushing them away by constantly alienating them from one another, dividing them up by sex, purity testing all the goddamn fucking time. And when you just don't like somebody, you go out of your way to look up something they did decades ago and judge them for it in the present, even if they're not the same person. So what have you created on the offset? What does it look like? The Democrat Party is a party of psychopathic lunatics who ruin everyone's lives, make people feel morally horrible, bully them after making them feel morally horrible, divide up their own, and the worst offense, never forgive anyone. There is no redemption in that party if you fuck up. Does that... fucking stop me if I'm wrong. But that could literally be what encouraged this walk away bullshit that moderates tried to push. Where before the pandemic, they were literally saying, I don't care how I vote, but I'm just not going to vote Democrat. I am convinced when the pandemic struck, some of those people, myself included, in a different timeline that might have done just that, would have sabotaged you. But seeing how much people suffered in the pandemic, seeing how much our own families suffered, we swallowed our pride and we did something different. We voted for a moderate president that you would crawl over broken glass to elect. Helios himself has said that. But I am damn well convinced the pandemic is the only thing that changed that. The only thing. Because some of you are just downright awful to even try to have a conversation with. And you could say Republicans do this and Republicans do that, but you don't see me fucking buddy-buddy with a traditional conservative. I literally only buddy-buddy on the conservative camp with the people that are a part of the offset, libertarians, fiscal conservatives that don't act like fiscal conservatives. People who say they're conservative, but subscribe to none of the core tenets. Are you noticing a picture here? I am literally friends with contradiction. Why? I like contradiction. Contradiction's sexy. It's the farthest thing from this mob mentality we got going on. We could sit here and keep talking about how society was inherently tribalistic, and that's just in our nature. But then why did we ever form a society? One unified collective. Because we thought we could be and do something more for ourselves. Something happened. We don't know when it happened, how it happened, or why it happened. But something happened called the Enlightenment. And all of a sudden, through years of suffering, through brutal dictatorships and monarchies, we started to realize something. Hey, what if the people controlled society? I wouldn't have to worry about being beheaded if I criticized the king. I could openly speak my mind when I'm frustrated. I could speak openly at pubs with other people. Freedom of speech, by the way, was the biggest fucking tenet of this thing. Because all they wanted to be able to do was speak about how horrible they're feeling without dying over it. And we can't even do that. We sit here a bunch of fucking chuds talking about how there are consequences for what you say, but the little subtext is that we're not specifically looking for Sieg Heils. We've also got our own little bullshit sprinkled in there that has absolutely nothing to do with nothing. We'll never admit to it, and as long as you don't attack us for it, we'll continue to do it. Tell me I'm wrong. When did criticizing communism suddenly make you a fascist? When did challenging socialism suddenly make you fascist? Oh wait, when they associated the trade of capital goods with fascism. You see what this sectarian bullshit is doing? This subsect of extremists has literally convinced you that everyone and everything is a fascist. That is not you, that does not exist within that bubble. And if you don't stop it, it will be the demise of that party because the world exists outside of that bubble. You are denying the world every time you don't stand up to it. The second I realized that, I made my stand. Sure, it was a spat, a scene on Twitter over some stupid bullshit, but I made it very clear. We're gonna hold you accountable. It is going to happen. So you better start cleaning up your feeds, clean your noses, because we're coming. And we're coming hard. Because this shit is not going to continue. You've ruined so many people, so many lives, so much joy and happiness, and that is literally what polarized us. I'm convinced. People cannot be happy when they want to. They're literally shamed for that because they have to constantly be reminded how there are starving children in Africa. Well, what do you want me to do about it? What responsibility does Africa bear? I get that my government has done all this fucked up shit, but were you literally not paying attention to the fact that for the past 5 years previously, we had a sentiment where no one trusted the government over everything, which is literally what created this Trump cult? Because no one trusted the government! You don't trust the government! You are just a byproduct of something else! An equally ugly, atrocious baby. A Harlequin baby, as it were. That's essentially the equivalent of what these ideas are. Because they don't care about people. They don't care about things. They don't care about preserving those little moments of joy in life that make the poor and working class continue to suffer for the sake of the future. Without that soul, it all dies. The flame goes out. All those previous generations you've mocked and criticized, yeah, they were bad people to some degree, but they realized they could be something more. I know you might despise this, but the torch of anti-racism was passed down by someone who once in their life was a potential racist. It would hurt so much to know that, wouldn't it? That a flawed individual who wanted to change is the person who handed you down that torch. And all you can do is sit here and judge them for the mistakes they made now that they're dead. You're a disgrace. An outright abortion that should have happened, and that's why I'm pro-abortion. A lot of y'all motherfuckers shouldn't have been born. You act so horribly towards other people, treat your friends so god-awfully, and act so reactionary over stupid things like YouTube videos. You sit here under the mantle of the party that made so many differences in history, and you shit all over it.
No. Okay.
Disgrace. Puh! You give me food poisoning. You should all be ashamed of yourselves. Although you've probably been told that thousands of times. So let me tell you something you haven't heard. You will die and be forgotten. Nothing you've done is memorable. Nothing you've done is meaningful. The only people who will remember you are the people you made smile, are the people you made cry tears of joy, are the people that felt like you made them mean something. And I know we're sitting here in this cruel world pretending like people never did that, but they did. Let's stop telling ourselves that lie. People cared. They felt things. This wasn't about capitalism or imperialism or all this different crap. Yeah, you had a sinister government every once in a while, every administration, every generation or so, pushing the keys and things like that. But if it were really all so god-awful, we would have never gotten to where we are now. And we can keep going, or the bus stops here. But cancel culture, as much as all of you want to say it's not real, society begs to differ. And they're coming for you. And they don't subscribe to your political point of view. And they don't care about what goals you're trying to accomplish for your political party. And they don't care about what policy you get passed. If you hurt somebody they care about, they're going to kick you in your shins until your legs break. You're going to learn the hard way. So you better start minding your P's and Q's and regulating this body you've created to hold bodies of power accountable, or we're going to lose it.
Possibly forever.
Call this the one and only warning from a person you will more than likely call a fascist for what I've said. But you will fail, you will die, and you will be forgotten if you do not change course now!
You okay now?
Yeah.
Alright. Let's see if I can find something weird so that way you can feel a little bit better. Ew, no, not that.
That is probably the angriest I've ever gotten.
Let's see. What can I bring up that's a little less... Well, let's see. Let's find some good news at least. Fuck, where are you? Shit. Great. That cancel culture, that bullshit. Nope, not that. My fucking... my whole bullshit... There's a whole lot of bullshit also to Sheridan. We're going to hell, which is a where the serious discussions that happen in my personal Discord server, and a lot of times it's kind of tough trying to pick out the best ones. Especially since I'm getting shit from, I'm occasionally getting videos posted of Memology 101, and I don't fucking. The only weird thing that's starting to, the only weird thing that it's been brought up now and it's starting to make trending is very not safe for work. I can't even probably air it.
Yeah, like, the reason I went on that whole rant is because I genuinely think cancel culture is doomed to be canceled. Or, you know, consequence culture or whatever the hell they want to rebrand it to, thinking that'll make any fucking difference when the actions that follow don't change. You need to start holding people accountable that spread these really serious accusations of somebody being a Nazi, and these accusations need to be treated with respect.
Because it's too easy on one aspect, and the Lincoln Project pretty much already stated it, and Helios has repeatedly stated, all it'll take is one election, and then we're fucked. We cannot afford to waste our time on frivolous bullshit.
And you know what? I felt perfectly safe saying this, because if they cancel me now, or if they come after me now, I still get the last laugh. I'll go up in flame with them, but if they're gone, the world's a better place.
This will be a fucking waste of time if they went after someone of our kind of insignificance.
Insignificant right now.
Yeah, especially since, Midnight Media only passed 100 subs some time ago. How many subs do you even have right now on your own channel?
Mine has like 1,184 or something like that. Of course, that was a channel that largely gained its viewer base from my Gmod animation, so I might have to go back to doing Source for a while, too.
Yeah, if they're wasting time on insignificant people like us, this might just prove that they're just wasting time on the frivolous bullshit, and that will lead to another repeat of 2016.
My biggest
this time,
problem,
permanent and longer than 4 years.
My biggest problem is my rage can only be fucking understood by people who have walked a mile in my shoes. The only people that can understand why cancel culture is bad, or why it needs to change, or why it doesn't work in its current form, are people who have been wrongfully canceled. Are people that had mobs jump onto them off of assumptions, not facts. And off of people that essentially had, like, another thing that does it, when people like Tariq Nasheed are given the time of day by activists who are supposed to be taking themselves seriously.
Yeah.
Literally, the black Nazi. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah, you're not gonna. You don't have to sugarcoat it. Silent Blast already had to remind me that that guy. Yeah.
It's all for nothing if we keep letting these people gallivant around and play their little games. I can't stress that enough.
Sooner or later, the Streisand effect will probably be in effect, and I mean, it's already technically is. If you saw what I ended up posting, I believe earlier, let me fucking refresh my fucking memory. Scrolling up beyond what was said earlier. Where is that fucking shit? Not Josh Harley, don't give a fuck.
Bro, I can't wait until I see what the fucking thumbnail for that extra is, though.
I'll fucking make it relevant if I have to. Oh, there you are.
It's just me on fire.
Or something referencing "He will not divide us." That would be a better idea, because
he will not divide
because
us.
people, Shia LaBeouf, he had good intentions.
He had the right idea, but
yeah,
and it was the thing. The chainers were kind of right about this. What became an event that was originally meant to unite people became walled off, insular, and eventually canceled.
Yeah.
What was the point in Shia doing any of that? If he didn't, he. People need to think. These aren't a dumb enemy you have. Why do you still think that?
Yeah, celebrity life and all that. There we go. I found it. Anyways.
The president's an idiot on some subjects, but he was like the previous president, Trump, was an idiot on some subjects, but he was a smooth talker. If you ignore that fact, you fail to realize why he was so liked by that sect of the United States.
And how, even though he had scandal after scandal during the 2016 candidacy, he was still able to win. He sang sweet nothings into more people's ears than the Democrats tried to with their bullshit.
Yeah, because like where his party was like the media is lying, everything's a scam, it's all a hoax.
Believe me.
It's the thing. On the surface, that might have sounded idiotic and dumb. But you people really must not have lived if you fail to realize that the failure of the Bush administration, the failure of the Obama administration, all the previous bullshit and ideals Gen X and boomers had essentially put into people of the failure of the great empire, the United States, came to a head. Suddenly people are told politicians only follow corporate donations. Their electoral college doesn't vote the candidate they want. There's all these government conspiracies to control the masses. There's all these foreign conflicts that we were solely responsible for. All of you are a byproduct of that truth, and yet it doesn't stare you in the face as to why Trump's rhetoric actually worked. It's easy to say it appealed to fascists, it appealed to racists. It did. Do you know what else it did? It gave people a reason to believe that the failure of America was not their fault. People don't want to blame themselves for the mistakes they've made or the things they didn't do. And in a way, it's sad. The distrust of the government comes from the fact that they could never hold the government accountable for all that wrong.
All right.
And all some of you were trying to do was hold this country accountable for those sins.
Sadly, we need a louder voice.
Here's the biggest problem, though. Is this idea that the belief in a democracy, in an America that does the right thing by the right people, is somehow wrong.
Fuck.
That's where we fuck up. Is the idea that that patriotism or American nationalism cannot necessarily be used for good. Here's the problem. People may have lost faith in the government, but what are they fighting for? Why didn't they just lay down and die like dogs if there's no hope? It's because there is.
It was about to be misplaced. I got the article up anyways. They're already placing it in the wrong place, in a sense. There are no documentation of support of the Proud Boys from Asian Americans because of, according to the New York Post, fear of Antifa and Black Lives Matter bringing communist rule to the U.S. Recent funding efforts for the Proud Boys saw as many as 80% of the donations coming from people with Chinese surnames. According to review of leaked information obtained by USA Today, as well as a series of experts and supporters, the data showed significant support specifically from the Chinese American community, as well as expats in China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. According to Rebecca Kwan, who donated $500 to the group, said, "You have to understand how we feel. We came from Communist China. We managed to come here. We appreciate it here so much." And, well, you can see the appeal. The Proud Boys are fighting Antifa and Black Lives Matter.
It hurts so much. And this is what this dividing up does to our society. And it's not about, right, the Asian Americans. I can go ahead and give you that buzzword. Look what we're doing to the Asian Americans. Look how sad. Do you know why it's sad?
Because we allowed it to happen in the first place.
It's not specifically because of the Asian Americans. But there's your hope right there. People that fled from a regime that is killing the Uyghurs en masse right now. That came here because they believed that this place was better. Do you know what that is? It's a radiating semblance of something we don't seem to want to fucking latch onto and feel, because we don't feel. We just get with these fucking mobs and we get angry because they get angry, and we just mimic like a bunch of fucking parrots. That's all we are. But when you dive at its core, it makes you feel something when you start to realize this isn't because of race. These are people. And this place feels like their home. They treat it like home. They call it home despite how much it's treated them horribly. Why? Because they believe in this country. Despite everything. Nothing seems to break people's will to believe in this country, except for the people that want to tell you America was never great. For the people that want to tell you America was great in the state that we left it, like the Hillary campaign. That wasn't satisfactory. But why did Joe Biden win? Well, make America great again, sexy on the Trump camp. Never mind who Trump was. Think of the idea. The idea that we could make America, the America we read about in books, the America our grandparents before us had. We could make that America again. A strong, leading figure, pushing technological innovation, liberalism, equality, the ideals that all people are created equal, breaking up regimes and turning them into democracies because it is what the people demand. Fighting for democracy. And people really started to believe in it after the Second Great War. It was what pushed this ideal of patriotism. And of course, it can become a poison when unchecked.
Ooh.
But you have to tell me what's so horrible about an idea that we can be great people because we can learn and grow. And that in a way, the idea of fixing the country, making it great again, which both the Trump and Biden campaign ran off of with totally different messages, where Trump said it's this person's fault, it's this person's fault, it's this person's fault, it's this person's fault. They're making America so horrible, and if we expunge them, it'll be great again. Biden had a different approach. You know, guys, we fucked up. Let's fix it together.
Or at least the best we can.
People mocked and wagged the finger at Build Back Better. And don't get me wrong, it's a little cheesy.
I'll see where you're going to sell it.
But it was also the attitude that Biden expressed while they tried to paint him as some fucking senile dude escaped the mental ward.
Or one of the old folks' homes that Kitty works in.
He just said things like, I believe in this country. This virus took my son. We're going to kill it. Like, things a human being can relate with. Human things that we can all relate with. And genuinely, nobody thinks that could win? That there aren't still people that think, everything I've done didn't really make America a better place for my kid to inherit. I've got to change course for them.
Otherwise, they're going to have a... Well, it's already happening in a sense. We're pretty much on our way to being a shell of our former selves. Everything all burned to the ground. We don't have any damn thing to rebuild with. We'll be totally screwed.
Honestly, that's one of the most beautiful redemption stories I've ever heard. The stakes make it real. The reason I'm getting mad, I'm getting heated, I'm getting passionate, I'm getting hard.
Please don't say that by that way.
I'm going hard there.
There.
Sorry, I wanted to... We joke, we have fun, but I think people want that. I think people want us to joke and have fun. But I also think people want us to stop being so damn angry and be hopeful. Be grateful about something. Something.
Well,
this fucking cesspit doesn't know how to do it, and probably never will, because they hate themselves.
and money is being made on being angry all the time.
Yeah.
We're afraid it is, yeah.
It's honestly ironic, but I think your solution would actually be love capital. If you could make money off of happiness and spreading joy, then maybe it could eventually override the hate capital. And if joy makes more money than hate, well, then there you go.
Just like the vaccine, we need a little bit more extra love to overcome the hate.
And, you know, we're already fucking up. Because, like, you know, the stuff I hear about why people won't wear masks, about why people won't take the vaccine. Oh, it doesn't affect me. It didn't hurt me that bad. It didn't do anything to me. Me.
Even though you might have a family member dead because of it.
Yeah, just me. I'm sorry. But wasn't the slogan of your president, "Make America Great Again"? Not "Make America Mine Again"?
It didn't fucking work if it went great, make America mine again.
Make America Mine Again.
It didn't work because apparently the mine in the situation is Trump's. What happened, man? Yeah.
Point is, if you can't think about anybody other than yourself, you're already failing as a person. And society is doomed to fail if people close off and go into their own little gated circles out of fear of the world. You know, a lot of righties say this to left-wingers, and a lot of lefties say this to righties nowadays, but buckle up, Snowflake. It's about to get a hell of a lot worse. And you aren't prepared for it.
In the words of the Joy, I'm going to be here for a long time. Get used to it.
You can call me a bastard and bitch and whine and cry like I know some of you will. But a friend taught me a really important lesson long ago. The best way you can say fuck you to these people is to prove them wrong.
Doesn't have to be extravagant.
Yeah. Just prove them wrong. Don't just say what you're saying is wrong. Show it. Show it and rub it in the bastard's face. I don't care. If suddenly actually being a good person, being flaunted and shown about is wrong, then I don't want to be right. And I don't want it shown about and flaunted for social media clout, right? I want it shown about and flaunted by public influencers. And I want those public influencers to go, right, guys, let's help somebody. You know, there are some public influencers doing that. And I think it's a force for good. Even if it makes them money in the long run, who cares? Everyone has to make money. To live, to survive. If you wanted that person's thing to be a zero-sum gain, then feed them and house them for the rest of their lives. Sorry, but no system in the world is going to do that for free. Not even communist systems did that for free.
Anyway,
nothing
should be coming on soon.
And nothing is free. There is a price for everything, even free social media. And you're it, buddy. They grabbed you hook, line, and sinker. They took your information. They pushed you into all these extremist squares. They showed you all your little buddies saying this extreme shit over and over and over again. And you joined in the gallivanting. And you went through thread after thread after thread after thread. And you made them millions. And you know what they said in return? Fuck your free speech. We decide what's acceptable to say on this platform. We own you. Pulled the rug right out from under people. It's almost like rich people are evil. No, I'm kidding. But it's a broader misnomer of the whole thing. But it's actually a fundamental truth as to why, quote-unquote, rich people are evil. Let's remember one facsimile that we always taught people about our society. Power corrupts, but absolute power corrupts absolutely. It could have been a fundamental truth that maybe certain people who own big tech were good, well-intentioned people before they got into power. And then they saw what they could do, and after all the traumas and bullshit they've been through, the trials and tribulations of life, they realized, hey, I can make everyone pay for my suffering. Let's do it!
All right. I need some food, and before we even start, so yeah, I'm gonna wrap up this recording. We wait on Helio, so then we could just immediately jump into BioShock, unless he's got something to talk about.
Yeah.